Center from the nation's capital. I'm Scott Van Pelt. Victor Wembanyama and the Spurs roll to their 10th straight. Tim Legler will join us in a bit to break down the hottest team in the league. Tatum and Brown end up in the same category as Bird and McHale with the Celtics. And some developing news regarding the Rams' standout wide receiver Puka Nacua. We begin with the show once again put on Victor Wembanyama. He is in a category of his own at the moment, it seems. They'd won 9 straight entering Wednesday. That's the best in the league, taking on an undermanned Golden State squad. I don't care who you've got. There's no one stopping that. Stephon Castle up top, Wemby. It's 12-3 early. Castle, Wembanyama again. Where you at, big fella? There. It's 14-3. Dylan Harper. How about being able to get this guy in the first round? Just add him to the mix. Another alley-oop. It's 25-9. Harrison Barnes to Wembanyama, and this is where you just start laughing at what it looks like. My Lord. What are you going to do? Nothing. San Antonio leading early by 8. Draymond, you going to give me this? I'll take it. You can take those two with you. 27-13 in the first half. First Spurs player with 25-10 in any half in the play-by-play era. That's since 97-98. It's 70-49 at the break. Wembanyama, guard skills as a 7-foot whatever he is man. Wembanyama here, loose ball gathers off the window. It's good. And they roll 41-18. Youngest player in NBA history with back-to-back games of 40 and 15. Tim Legler joins me. And Legs, since this guy has been on our radar, right? Since we first learned of him, he's been a tantalizing prospect. But the idea of what he might be compared to the reality of what he is, how do you compare those?
Well, first of all, any player that's come into the league, with this kind of hype, and there's just a few really historically, to be able to live up to it and actually be more than you ever thought he could be this early in his career, it's really scary to think ultimately what his ceiling could be, because we're not close to that. He's so young. He's already added so much, but there's still a lot more there for him to grab. The thing that impressed me so much tonight, I think I saw more agility and variety of shot making offensively tonight than I've seen in any game that I've covered Victor Wembanyama since he's been in the league. It was just so impressive. Runners and floaters, fadeaways, of course, some of the power stuff at the rim, the constant release that he gives his guards, that even on a possession that's going nowhere, it comes down to the vertical space he provides to just bail out a possession. We saw all of that on display tonight. It's been going on pretty much the entire year, and it really actually looks like he's more comfortable even now than he was 6 weeks ago, probably.
I'm not being flippant when I ask this question. I'm being sincere. What does any team do to limit the manner in which this man impacts the game?
You've got one shot against him to just make him less efficient, and that is you have to have the type of personnel that's got the strength and the enough size that you can force him out on the floor on his initial catch. If he's got an opportunity to run free and there's not a lot of contact and you don't have the type of personnel I'm describing, it is virtually impossible to stop him. When you see him start to get jammed up a little bit and at least you have some success against him, Scott, it's typically when you've been able to push him out on the floor and really make him wrestle you a little bit and struggle to catch it where he wants to initially. You've at least done your job to try to hopefully make him have a less efficient night. That's your best answer. But the problem is, Scott, this team is so deep and there are so many answers around him if you want to overload on him to that extent. They're a complete basketball team. They can beat you on either end of the floor, and has put himself in that situation. Jaylen Brown obviously deserves to be mentioned in it. And then you've got SGA and Jokic as well, two guys that have been there literally at the top every year for the last several. So I think there are a number of candidates. I don't know how it's going to go. I just wonder if some people go to the default of SGA. Better year than he had, still the best record overall in the NBA, and he's the reigning MVP.
Understood. I don't think there's a wrong answer. It'll just be curious to find how people answer the question. Always enjoy the visits, Tim. Travel well. Be good until next time, okay?
Thanks, Scott. Appreciate it.
Always. The Spurs teams won each of the last 15 games that Victor Wembanyama has played in. Wemby averaging more than 25, 10, and 3 blocks per game in those wins. first player to post those numbers over a 15-game win streak since Shaquille O'Neal in 99-2000. Since the beginning of February, San Antonio, an NBA best 26-2. That's their most wins in any span of 28 games in the proud history of this franchise, something the Spurs never did despite being a dynastic team led by Pop, Tim Duncan, Tony Parker, Manu Ginobili. During the stretch, the Spurs have two separate winning streaks of 10 games, something they hadn't done in an entire season since 13-14. That year, the Spurs won an NBA title. Victor Wembanyama, kind enough to throw on the headset. Victor.
And again, he did this in just 17 minutes here, Brian.
All right, look. I'm not saying anything negative about any of the other candidates, okay? I'm just saying that you can make a case that Victor should win Defensive Player of the Year, MVP, and Most Improved.
Wait, hold up, man.
So you're gleaning this from the first half.
If you look at what he has done year over year, I mean, I remember when I was a kid, when I would watch Shaquille O'Neal play, I would watch the games on NBA on NBC on Sunday afternoons in the arena, and I would not take my eye off of Shaq. I didn't care where he went. I don't care what Penny is doing. I don't care what Dennis Scott, all due respect. I don't care what they're doing. I'm just watching Shaq going up and down the court. This is what I do with him. I'm just watching number one. I'm just watching him going up and down the court. There's other good stuff happening. You're going to tell us about it, Coach. I can't take my eyes off him. And I watch basketball all day long. I can't take my eyes off.
You know who they're playing against tonight, right?
I don't care. I only watch it number one.
There's one play, Coach, in the first half where Victor takes on essentially 3 Golden State Warriors defenders. You were talking about the gravity that he commands here. That showed exactly what you were speaking about. Here it is.
Well, here it is. He's triple teamed, but the beauty about Victor Wembanyama, Perk, is that at 7'4", 7'5", whatever he is, he doesn't see the triple team. And he has the ability to get to the basket, elevate, and I don't know if this is a dunk.
I know you guys talk about triple. That was a quadruple team.
Dropping it in.
We do realize that Victor spent time with the Monks, so his mentality is different. The reason I bring that up,
we're going to summer still, right? We're going
we're going to go down there. You know what I'm saying? I got to get myself together. But
you and me both.
We do realize that he walked into this game with something on his mind, and it was personal. We forget that him and Draymond got a little something going on. Now, outside of that, the thing that I love about Wemby is that it was whispers and rumors that he don't kind of like to be labeled as a big man, where he's playing like a big man because he's not bringing the ball up the floor. A lot of his baskets are coming off of pick and roll action, and if he is catching it in this sweet spot, it is him getting downhill. He's not settling for jumpers. He's not showing everybody that he has a Jamal Crawford type bag, although he does have that in his arsenal. So I think the level and growth that we've seen over the last month is that he's embracing being a big man now.
Yeah. One thing that jumps out to me, he said this earlier in the year when he had the big game against the Lakers. You got to have the greed. He doesn't care who they're playing. He doesn't care if Steph Curry's out, he's not out. He approaches every game the same way. I'm coming out here to impose my will. And that's what great teams do, and that's what great players do. They never play to the level of their competition. They play at that level, and that's why he is the future of the NBA.
Look, they're trying to get the number 1 seed. They got a game tomorrow night here in L.A. They got to travel tonight. They want to win that game tomorrow night. So they got to take care of tonight's game by the end of the third quarter so we can take the fourth quarter.
Who they play tomorrow?
Clippers.
I'm going to that game because you remember I told y'all there's only one player that I would spend my hard-earned money to go see. I don't want comps from T. Lou or Lawrence Frank. I'm going to spend my own dime because I got to go see that live.
You're going to be sitting in quite a bit of traffic to get over there, but yes, to go see Victor Wembanyama, it is absolutely something that's worth it. Again, with Steph this season, just 13 and 23 without him. So for more on Steph, we welcome in our senior insider, Shams Charania. Shams, we heard yesterday from the Golden State Warriors that Steph is able to practice 5-on-5 for the first time. So what does that mean for his timeline to return here?
Malika, I'm told that Stephen Curry has a goal to return to action on Sunday at home against the Houston Rockets. That's what he wants. That's his desire. But the next several days are going to be a vital period to see how does his knee respond to the 5-on-5, to additional workouts over the next several days. This is a big time for Steph Curry to check boxes and see, can he make it back and get clearance to come back Sunday or Tuesday at home against the Kings after 2+ months off. He's had multiple starts and stops throughout this though, Malika. There's been missed targets throughout the last several weeks, but this does feel different internally with the Warriors because now Steph finally got in that 5-on-5 scrimmage. He's encouraged. My understanding is he felt good. He came out of that 5-on-5 well. Internally, the Warriors this week have framed it as a make or break time for Steph Curry to either make it back or get shut down. Stephen Curry is looking at Sunday potentially for his return.
Wow, okay, a make or break timeline here that we could be looking at for Steph Curry as he targets Sunday. Shams, thank you very much. Hey, oh, wait. Hey, Shams, before we let you go, we're getting some news in just this very moment, and I'm hoping you're more deeply sourced than anyone. Sources say, happy birthday, Shams. We appreciate you and all you do for us here on the show. Very, very happy birthday. And, you know, it does make me laugh that it is on April Fool's Day.
Getting old.
No, you're not getting old. Look at that hair. We appreciate you. Hey, let's stick with the Golden State Warriors here for more on Steph Curry. We're going to bring in our friend Anthony Slater. Slater, what can you tell us now that we're hearing that Steph is targeting, hoping for Sunday for his return? What's the Warriors' mindset here for the rest of the season?
Yeah, well, first of all, I talked to Steph last night. He did say he felt great coming off the scrimmage, but he used the same word with me that he used with you on the sideline weeks ago, which was unpredictable. It really is an unpredictable knee injury. So he's hesitant over the next few days, hoping that the knee, responds well enough for him to get in the game Sunday, Tuesday, and play maybe 4 regular season games before the play-in. I do think some people from the outside looking in are saying, why? This kind of is a lost season for the Warriors. They're in the 10th spot. Everything's already gone wrong. Jimmy Butler's out for the year. But I talked a lot to Steph Curry about Draymond Green for a story I have on the site today, and I thought one of the interesting things he said is he's seen Draymond, keep his body ready and play every game this season, and he's around this team, which it's a really dark time for the franchise. They've watched 2 of their players basically carried off the floor with career-altering injuries, and I think he just wants to lift the spirits of this franchise, provide a little light at the end of the tunnel. I don't think there's some idea in his mind they're going to roll off and win the title out of the 10 seed, but I think they believe they can win a play-in game in Portland, they can win a play-in game in Phoenix or LA, and they can get a crack at the defending champs, and I think that's enough for Steph Curry to try to want to get back.
And that right there sums it up why he is so beloved by this franchise, because championships, yes, but it's that mindset of wanting to come back despite the really difficult path that the Golden State Warriors have ahead, to say, hey, you know what, as long as, and you and I have heard this time and time again from this franchise, as long as we have Steph Curry, we like our chances. Maybe not to win the whole thing, but to, like you said, have a crack at the defending champs. Anthony Slater, we appreciate it. Slater just mentioned that the Warriors right now, they're looking at that 10th spot. This is the top 10 in the Western Conference. Of course, the Thunder, they lead the Spurs by 2.5 games, really 2 in the loss column, because the Spurs have that head-to-head tiebreaker. And then when you're looking at the play-in, it's the Clippers, it's the Trailblazers, it's the Warriors that are locked into the play-in tournament, and the Rockets and Suns, they are jockeying back and forth. But the Warriors, they're trending towards the 10 seed, right? They are trending towards the 10. And keep in mind, only one team has ever gotten out of the 10 seed all the way into the playoffs, just the playoffs at all, and that was the Heat last year.
And it did not go well when they got there.
It didn't go great when they got there. But for the Warriors, I mean, how do you think, Amon, they should be handling the rest of the season after everything we just heard?
Honestly, what have the Warriors not given us in the last few years? Steph Curry, take as much time as you want, get healthy. Like, I didn't expect much from them, you know what I'm saying? Especially with all the injuries they have going on. But I just, what'd you say, a light at the end of the tunnel? I just want to see a light at the end of the tunnel. I just want everybody to walk off this summer and be healthy, and then start hearing about improvements for next year from them.
If he wants to play.
Yeah.
I mean, like that's really, he has earned the right to do whatever he wants. And the thing is that he needed this time anyway. It wasn't like they were going to make him play through the knee injury, but they knew that they were locked into the play-in anyway.
Yeah.
So they had the ability to let him recover while also not letting their standings hurt that bad. And look, they've had so many bad things happen to them this year.
Yeah, it's been a tough season.
Why not
end on joy, right? Why not end on a little bit of joy here? And Golden State, they had been hoping to keep in that 7-8 play-in bracket. It's not going to happen. They are locked into that 9-10 play-in bracket, and so now we see what happens. I did think it was interesting. Shams said, though, this is the make or break. He's targeting Sunday, but this has been really unpredictable. It's been really up and down. So if he's not able to go this Sunday, this is the time when they could also say, all right, this was your goal, we didn't meet it, and let's see what happens next. So let's focus on the San Antonio Spurs side of all of this.
What if the Warriors didn't just lose to the Spurs? What if they got handed the clearest reminder yet of why Steph Curry still changes absolutely everything? Aha, because that's what I walked away feeling after this one. Yes, Golden State lost 133-127. Yes, Victor Wembanyama was a complete problem. Yes, San Antonio looked deeper, fresher, longer, more explosive, all of that. But underneath the pain of the loss was the one truth Warriors fans can't ignore. This team is still incomplete without number 30. And the biggest story around Golden State right now is not the scoreboard. It's the fact that Steph Curry's comeback is suddenly feeling real again. Reuters reported Curry has been out since January 30 with right knee patellofemoral pain syndrome and bone bruising, but after a recent 5-on-5 scrimmage, the Warriors are now watching closely to see if he can target Sunday against Houston. That is the story. That is the oxygen. That is the thing making Dub Nation lean forward again. Because look at what happened against San Antonio. The Spurs were already red hot, and they came in and made it painfully obvious how difficult life is for Golden State without Steph's gravity. The Warriors were short-handed again, missing multiple key pieces, and still tried to fight through it. But once 1B got rolling, once the Spurs started owning the vertical game, once the half-court offense got sticky, you could feel the missing engine, you could feel the missing organizer, you could feel the missing fear factor that Steph puts into every defense he faces. And that's why this breaking update matters so much. Not because Steph magically fixes every flaw, but because he changes the entire emotional and tactical equation of the team the second he steps back on the floor. Anthony Slater said Steph felt great coming out of scrimmage work, but also called the knee unpredictable. And that's the nerve-wracking part right there. Great today doesn't guarantee great tomorrow. One strong session doesn't mean the green light is automatic. The San Francisco Chronicle reported the Warriors want to see how his knee responds before fully clearing him, and Steve Kerr already made it clear they are running out of games. That makes every day count. Every treatment counts. Every scrimmage counts. Every little box matters. So when fans hear Steph felt good, that's not some empty injury report line. That's a possible doorway, a possible shift, a possible moment where this season stops being about survival and starts being about what's still possible. And man, let's talk about the emotional side for a second, because this matters too. Slater's reporting really hit on something that feels so Steph. He doesn't seem to be thinking about a miracle title run from the 10 seed. He seems to be thinking about lifting the spirits of the franchise, giving this team some light at the end of the tunnel, and reminding everybody that as long as he's around, Golden State is never spiritually out of it. Yeah, that's why he's beloved. That's why Dub Nation rides with him like family. Not just because of banners, not just because of records, but because even after a season full of injuries and darkness, he still wants to come back and fight. He still wants to give this group one more chance to believe. And here's the basketball side that should make people in the West uncomfortable. Steph does not just help Golden State score more, he changes jobs, he changes roles, he changes the pressure map. Podziemski gets easier reads. Draymond gets his favorite partner back in the two-man game. Melton stops having to carry impossible shot creation burden. Porzingis, when healthy, gets more space, more clean catches, more chaos to attack. The whole team snaps closer to its intended shape. So even though this Spurs loss stings, I'm still ending in a favorable place for the Warriors, because the season is not dead enough for Steph's return to be meaningless. That's huge. Golden State survived just long enough for the comeback to matter. And if it happens Sunday, then all of a sudden the play-in becomes a lot more interesting. So that's my take, Dub Nation. The Warriors lost the game, but the bigger truth coming out of this night is that Steph Curry's possible return is now the center of everything. That is the real headline. That is the real tension. That is the real hope. Tell me what you think in the comments. If Steph comes back Sunday, do the Warriors become dangerous again immediately, or do they still need more time to find rhythm? Smash the like button, subscribe, and stay locked in, because if this comeback really is close, the whole mood around Golden State is about to change fast.